The running backs now, it appears that they're catching more passes out of the backfield. Is that a facet of the game that you want to improve on this season?
We do. We think we got some guys that can, do some special things with the ball coming out of the backfield. So yeah, I don't know if I would say that after today. We dropped too many balls today, but we feel like they're a pretty talented group catching the ball out of the backfield.
Coach, what's so special about Jaden, his work ethic, his talent on the field?
He's a hard worker. He's gotten a lot better. We put a lot on him about gaining some weight, getting bigger and stronger, a little quicker. It's just his work ethic has gotten a lot better. And for really such a young guy, he's barely been here for a year, and it seems like he's been here forever. But his work ethic is what we're looking for, and really he kind of has to do that because he kind of has to be the leader in the room right now with the most experience.
Year 2 coaching with Coach Marion. Talk about your excitement for this upcoming football season.
Well, we think the offense is a pretty potent offense. We can hurt you a lot of different ways. Through the air, we really want to run the football. That's kind of what we want to do. But we have the ability to throw the ball too. And we got some pretty good guys on the outside with Ricky and Jacob. So we got some playmakers all over the field. KB at the tight end. We're pretty talented all the way around. We just have to make plays.
What's the difference for a running back running out of a two-back set versus one back? We're seeing a little more one back or, with a fullback out there.
Yeah, the two-back game is really a downhill, physical style of running, and you really don't see that as much nowadays. Everybody's kind of spread and empty and want to go fast, and it's usually one back in the backfield, and we have the ability to do that. But we want to be able to put two guys back there and run right at you. We're not going to make any, we're not trying to psych anybody out. We want you to know we're coming after you. And if you want to win games, tough, physical, downhill football, running the football, all great teams should be able to do that, and that's what we're trying to do.
Coach, what's the method of how you utilize the running backs as far as do you go based on field, when a back is in for like an entire series, or what is the method on how you decide who gets the carries?
Yeah, well, generally how we do it, we like to rotate a lot of guys. We like to play a lot of guys, so young guys get an opportunity here to play. And generally what I tell my guys is if I put you on the field, I expect you to go the distance. I will only take you out if you're like dead tired. You look tired. And with that, I'll bring in somebody else. But now when I bring that somebody else in, you tap out, you're giving your reps to somebody else. So our guys try to rarely tap out on me because they know if they do, somebody else might get their points, And so you better be ready to go the distance.
How many backs do you have in the rotation that you can utilize this season? There's a lot of depth there. Michael Allen's back out there on the field.
Mm-hmm.
How many backs deep can you go? 4 or 5?
Oh, we'll definitely go 4, 5, and if 6 shows us that he's capable and deserves the opportunity to be on the field, we'll go 6. But we like to play a lot of guys, and I think that's one of the exciting things about our offense. So a lot of guys get an opportunity to play. That's how a young guy like Jet got on the field last year with his opportunities. And then once you show us what you can do, you might become a guy, and now you become a main fixture in what we try to do. So get your opportunities, take advantage of it.
Speaking of young guys, Coach, what has Greg Burrell impressed you, this fall camp?
He's just a playmaker. Yeah, he's such a young pup, but has a hunger to get out in the field. He's so talented, and he's got so much growth. His ceiling is so high. He's catches the ball well. He's athletic with the ball in his hands, getting out of the backfield. He actually is a pretty tough kid in blocking and his protections. He just needs, like Jet last year, just needs to get bigger and stronger and faster. And when he does that, he's really going to be something special. We feel like we got a great one there. But he's got to continue to grow and maturity. Sometimes he acts like a high school kid at times. And we just got to try to bring him along and understand that he's a young guy. But we expect a lot of great things out of him this year.
What does that mean, acting like a high school kid? And what are those traits where you're you got to get rid of those habits?
Sometimes he thinks he's tired when he isn't tired. Sometimes you got to be able to fight through that. And young guys will tap out fast. And we're trying to get guys that won't tap out. When you think you're tired, you got to be ready to play through that. You got to be ready to play through pain. There's one thing with being injured, and then there's another one just being, kind of banged up a little bit. And we're all at this point in the season, everybody's banged up. But high school kids tend to think they're hurt, like they can't play anymore. It's like, oh my gosh, my arm's going to fall off. No, you're going to be just fine. Play through it, fight through it, and let's get on to the next play. And then 2-3 plays later, you're playing regular football. So you really weren't hurt, you just thought you were. So typical high school guys sometimes.
Coach, what did you learn about this team after this weekend's scrimmage?
We still got a little ways to go. There was a lot of good plays out there. And I always tell our guys, you're never as bad as you think, you're never as great as you think, you're somewhere in the middle. And it's kind of where we are right now. As I said, I think we got a lot of playmakers on the team. We just have to be consistent, and everybody's got to bring their best A game to the table. And I think if everybody across the board can do that, in all of our skill positions, our O-line has to be consistent, and quarterback play has to be consistent. But being the running back guys, I put it all on them. I always talk to our guys about you're the heartbeat of the team. And so as we go, the team goes. And so we want to continue to be able to run the ball. And even when there aren't holes there, got to go make a hole. Let's not point fingers at people and the O-line didn't do this or this guy didn't block. Find a hole and make something happen. And if there isn't a hole, make a hole. It's kind of our mentality a little bit.
You said there were too many drop balls today. What's your message to your group after a practice like this to kind of help them build on a day like this?
Yeah, I mean, I told every single one of them, when I was in the recruiting process with you, every guy asked me, said, what are you looking for in a guy? And I always say, I'm looking for an every down back. A guy that can run the football, that's obvious, that's why we're recruiting you. But you got to be ready to block for your other teammates, especially when we're in 21 personnel. You got to be able to block for the other backs. But you got to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield. We can take advantage of that. And we've got the kind of backs that can do that against linebackers. Some people at times will try to cover us with defensive ends that drop into the flat. And we got to be able to take advantage of that. And to do that, you got to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield. So that's huge against good defenses. They're going to try to take away Ricky. They're going to try to take away Jacob. And now we're the ones that hurt their defense by being able to come out and take a little 5-yard check down and turn it into a little 20, 25-yard or longer play. And if we can't catch the ball, we can't do that. And so we got to be consistent with catching the ball out of the backfield.
Coach, I know that you coach the DBs at both Missouri and at Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any improvement from the cornerbacks or from the DBs this season?
A lot more physical play. I like that part of it. It's hard because I am torn because I watch us on offense, but from a defense, I always wear that other side hat, and being there and coaching on the defense for so long, so I see them playing a lot. But I think their play has been a lot more physical, and they're not giving up quite as many big plays. They're competing on the back end better. So I like what we're doing. We just got to, like all of our positions, we just got to be more consistent on that end.
Given all the success you guys had running the ball last year, this season you're going to see some of these opponents for the second time around. They'll be seeing this offense for the second time. Do you anticipate being defended a little bit differently, or how do you guys go about sort of anticipating what other teams might do to slow down the running game?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there'll be little gung-ho for us a little bit more in seeing the offense, but I like to think we're bringing a little bit more to the table this year. So they saw just a tip of what we can do, and the challenge is for us to be able to go out and keep it consistent. But I like what we're doing. I like where we're at, and I think we've got a few more big play type players on our offense. And so what they thought they saw last year, I think they're going to see that and a lot more this year.
Well, last year, the first snap of the season was Vincent Davis' 69-yard touchdown run.
Not a bad way to start the season.
Does that set the bar for your first play this season, or are you guys working on a special call for that first play?
We want to be explosive on it on every play that we have. But I always talk to our guys it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we won a lot of games in the fourth quarter this past season. So if we can open the season with a bang like that, I'll take it. But I'm more concerned about how we finish.
Where does Kylan James fit in? Shear was talking him up a little bit yesterday, and he had pretty prolific receiving numbers at Central Arkansas.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that we think can add a lot to what we're doing. He's a big guy. He can run the ball downhill, really physical that way, but he's really, really good catching the ball out of the backfield. And so he brings a lot to our offense that we didn't really quite have as much last year, and I think he'll add a lot to what we're doing this year. So he's a good, really, really good player. Just needs to, as I said earlier, I hate to be a broken record, but just being consistent.
Anyone in your group that's really surprised you throughout camp so far, like something that stood out or unexpected?
No, I think one of the young guys, DJ Darian Jones, has come on. I think he's made a lot more plays this year. I'm anxious to continue to see how he does in the next scrimmage. He played, had a decent scrimmage last week. Can he put two of them together back to back and start stacking them a little bit? He's been a nice surprise for us this year. I think I'm anxious to see how he plays for us and what his role becomes in our offense this season. So yeah, he's kind of the surprising one.
Is Devin Green kind of where DJ was last year? Or
He's coming. He's a little. He didn't get here until late. He really got here in the summertime, in June, where a guy like look at Greg Burrell got here in the spring, and he was here in January. He had spring football to learn. Davin's a little bit behind because he got here when a typical freshman gets here, and generally when by that time you're just behind all the other guys. And so he's still coming. He's still learning, understanding the physicalness of our game. He struggled a little bit early in camp just from the physicalness side, which again is typical of most high school kids. It's a big jump from high school to college and college to the pros. It's a big jump. And so, he's still figuring that out. But I think he's lately, the last two practices, he's really probably had his best practices. So he's coming along.
Coach, year two with the same coaching staff in this building, same fall camp with the same staff,
Mm-hmm.
How is that an advantage for this team this season?
I think it's a plus for our kids. You never really quite understand it. But for when kids, you're constantly seeing coaches come and go, the language changes, how you treat players change. And so when you have consistency, players understand what they're looking for, what the staff is looking for, and what their goals are. It's pretty crystal clear. And so, consistency is always a good thing. Most of the staffs that I've been on, I've been pretty fortunate that most of the staffs I've been on, we've had a lot of success, but we had success because we had consistency within the staff. And guys understand, first off, we understand what the head coach wants and how he wants it taught, and players then understand it, and then it flows better throughout the whole organization. So I think that's a good thing for our players, and we're all anxious to go to work this season.
The bowl game last year. DeJesus
You would have to go there, wouldn't you?
Well, you got thinner running back, and DeJesus had to step up. So how did you grade him? What was he good at? What can he build on? And how involved can he be? Marion said he wants him. He wants to get him the ball any way possible. So
Well,
he's in the backfield.
He's a talented kid that can do a lot of different things for you. You can put him in the backfield, and obviously he's special in special teams, catching the ball on the outside. We've put a few more little special plays in for him from an offensive perspective in the backfield. He'll be probably more a part of what we're doing this year because he's just that kind of a player. And so we realize what we got, and we want to try to get those resources on the field and help our offense. So the more he touches the ball, the better we are.
Speaking of special, Ricky White, how has he only elevated his game this camp?
He's just a great leader, and he's a quiet leader. He's not much he doesn't talk a whole lot, but when he does speak, players respect him. And he's by example. He's the best example that we have of how we want it done. And he's not, as I said, he's not one that talks a lot, but when it comes to going hard, he always is going hard. He's one of our best blockers on the perimeter. Obviously, he's awesome when down the field and catching one-on-one situations. We know he's going to make a play, and we try to have all of our players look to him as an example. Hey guys, when we put you in those one-on-one situations, be like Ricky and be consistent. And if you can do that across the board, then we'll be a better offense. But man, just a special kid, special young man. I shouldn't say call him a kid. He's a young man. I'm thrilled that he's on our team, and I think he can be even better than what he was last year. So that'll be the challenge.
Anything else? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So